prevalent right now in our society, and you know, it having to do with so many aspects, the food choices, the stress, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that I hear consistently is difficulty conceiving, infertility problems, and how much money being spent on infertility drugs and processes and all this stuff, and ultimately, you know, where the first place we should be beginning is going back to our food and really learning about what foods can support, as a woman, can support my fertility and you know, support my hormones. Foods, you know, exercise, yoga, meditation, acupuncture, whatever it is, there's so many things that can support that.
Yes.
But maca is a powerhouse.
Yes.
And it is amazing. It is an essential ingredient for women of all ages. Well, I wouldn't say for children. Once a woman is menstruating and fertile, to maintain hormonal balance, because even for PMS, right? Even young girls having PMS symptoms. So maca, a little bit of maca in the younger years. As we get older, then definitely increasing to make sure we have the energy. And what's very interesting is I've actually heard of some women saying that they will actually take a little bit of maca before going to bed.
Really?
It doesn't keep them awake. They wake up feeling energized, clear, happy, and refreshed. And they have found, these women that have shared this with me, they say they found that it actually, they feel that it's balancing their hormones before they go to sleep, so that they actually sleep more deeply, and it's regulating their moods.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know. Again, just like my mom, she used maca powder extensively when she was going through menopause to balance her, you know, estrogen, progesterone levels, and you know, she blew her doctors out of the water. You know, they were really pushing, as we see commonly in certain societies, of HRT, hormone replacement therapy, which you know, can come from a whole variety of sources. I'm not going to, you know, name any specific drugs that are out there, but when you get things that are made in nature and not made in a laboratory, we're just giving our bodies something that's so much more easy to use and assimilate and be of benefit. So maca is an awesome alternative to hormone replacement therapy.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's almost comical to think that, you know, we're human beings put on this planet, plants that are put here growing, like, okay, eat me. I mean, animals eat it. They understand. They eat the plants and they eat, you know. So it's very interesting that we, at one time, as human beings, as a human species, we understood this and we ate what grew. And, you know, if we lived in areas of the planet where it was very cold all the time and things didn't grow, well, then we, you know, survived by eating animals and stuff. But where we live in an abundance of agriculture, that is really what is best for our digestion and really best for longevity and for emotional balance and everything. And what's very interesting is that our high-tech society has taken us so far away from all of these natural truths to experiment. What can we create? What can we do? How can we mimic nature? And we're all coming back going, you know, we did a really good job at some things, but maybe we need to come back to nature. And it's almost like we literally have to relearn things that are so natural, so that make so much sense, or so basic. So it's actually quite comical to me that at times we have to learn about this stuff. Actually, we learn to get started, but then eventually then your intuition just kicks in and then you're just like, oh, I keep craving this. I'm not really sure why. Let me just eat it. And you know, oh, I feel this change happen. Oh, this must be good for this. So it's actually pretty simple.
It is.
So it's really fun. And
letting your intuition guide you, you know, for many of you who may have never used maca or red clover or mesquite or some of the ingredients we're presenting in the malt today, you really find that as you start eating them and you pay attention to what your body's responding to, like last night, you know, this is obviously very beneficial for women's health. Well, I made a sample batch last night for the first time and I tried it and I immediately felt boosted and balanced. So this is obviously, with the red clover and maca, very good for women's health, but hormone balancing in general for men or women, this is a phenomenal addition.
All right, so you just put maca in.
Yes, I put 1 tablespoon of maca, which for people who want to know how it works, maca actually works on the hypothalamus pituitary gland to balance whatever hormones are being overproduced or underproduced, and what that's called is an adaptogen. So it goes into the body. It actually helps to balance out whatever hormone levels are out of whack without any side effects on the body. So it's an absolutely amazing product to just get that emotional boost and to get yourself feeling back into balance in your life. So the second major component here is we have a tincture of red clover. And I learned some amazing things about red clover. This, by the way, also has yellow dock root, burdock root, nettle leaf, cleve reserve, licorice root, and a host of other really amazing herbs in it. But red clover, another great alternative to hormone replacement therapy, is actually, it's very, very good for maintaining a healthy urinary tract, I found out as well. And also, it's used to prevent osteoporosis therapeutically because it has high levels of calcium, magnesium, niacin, and phosphorus.
Those are, yeah, that's amazing, because those, I get asked by my female clients all the time, like, I know they learn that we don't have to go to vitamins and minerals, and actually it's not a very healthy source to get our nutritional sources from. They want to use natural foods, and they will ask me, how do I make sure I'm getting enough calcium and magnesium?
Yes.
And, you know, green foods, so there's a whole lot of them, but this is fantastic, that not only is it helping us as women to get enough calcium so that we avoid the osteoporosis,
yes.
but also it's going to help with the hormonal balancing with the pineal or the pituitary and hypothalamus gland.
Absolutely.
So we're getting a couple of things in here with this, and if you're having this on a daily basis, plus you're eating lots of green vegetables and blue-green algae, which we had in another segment, you're taken care of.
Yeah.
You're getting all of it.
And red clover, just to let you guys know about hormone replacement therapy again, a natural way of really keeping our hormones in balance is through a plant chemical called isoflavones. And to this point, one of the major sources, at least in people's spheres of knowledge, has been soy. And for a lot of people who have a lot of trouble digesting soy or assimilating soy and have concerns, obviously, over the environmental impacts of growing soy and the genetic modification of that crop, red clover is awesome because it has naturally occurring super potent levels of isoflavones, which naturally mimic estrogen levels in the body.
Fantastic.
So this is a super potent tincture. So I think we're going to go for, I usually go between 7 and 10 drops, so why don't we cut it down the middle and go 8.
Okay,
so,
sounds good.
So we're going to add 8 drops to our mixture of the red clover. And then for some sweetness, I've actually have some organic soaked medjool dates. I have a little less than a 1/4 cup, which we're going to add for some sweetness in our malt today. And I soak these for about an hour just to soften them up. I find that if I add dates that haven't been soaked, they're a little tough for the blender to break down.
Right.
And then a little pinch of cinnamon, a little shake. A pinch of sea salt for flavor enhancement. And then we've got our mesquite powder, which is the ground up pods of the mesquite tree. And another really interesting fact about mesquite I just learned is that it's really high in protein. It's up to 17% protein by weight. So for women out there who really want to get that really nice protein balance in your diet, mesquite powder is a great way to get that as well. So we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of our mesquite powder to the mix.
You know, I recently reviewed some of my old materials when I was going through my yogic nutrition certification, and what's very interesting is that you know, the average adult only requires about 30 grams of protein a day, and the average American on a standard American diet consumes more than 120 grams of protein on a daily basis.
Wow.
That is so damaging and stressful to the liver, and we wonder why we're rotting and aging and decaying and sick. It's fascinating. So a lot of people worry about getting enough protein. Don't worry about getting enough protein. If you're having a grain, if you're having nuts or seeds, if you're having green vegetables, if you're having, even coconut has protein in it, and you're having superfoods, you're totally covered. Yeah,
and again, speaking of protein here, we've got some raw almond butter. We're adding 1 tablespoon. You know, nuts are a fantastic source of protein and minerals like selenium. And what I like to do is I like to use nuts in moderation, again, like anything.
I agree.
And certainly when I started on my raw food journey, I overdid it a bit on the nuts. But when we're supplementing, when we're making really sweet things like desserts, certainly they're a great enhancement to whatever recipes we're doing.
Yeah.
So we just added 1 full tablespoon of the raw almond butter. And the last thing we're going to do is add 1 fresh vanilla bean. And so in a previous segment, I walked you guys through a little bit of how to properly scrape a vanilla bean. I'll show you again very quickly. We cut the vanilla bean in half like so.